everyone, my name is Emily and I'm going to be your presenter today for our Reports and Advanced Features webinar. I spent 10 years as a classroom teacher before stepping away to pursue other professional development opportunities. I connected with Happy Numbers 5 years ago and have watched this program evolve into an invaluable tool for reaching pre-K through 5 students of all math proficiency levels in the classroom. This program is truly one of a kind, and I'm excited to share all of the ways that you can use Happy Numbers in your classroom to support your students no matter where they're at in their math learning journey. This webinar will cover various Happy Numbers reports and advanced features designed to provide you with actionable data and insights into student performance, growth, and skills development. Let's imagine that you set up your Happy Numbers account, rostered your class, and you are on day 7 of your Happy Numbers experience. That means that your students have spent some quality time in the platform and it's time to check in on them. I'll show you the most important things to do and what to keep track of. For demonstration purposes, I have a demo account populated with student data. This data is from last year, and I have a 4th grade classroom. The very first report that you'll see after logging in is this weekly dashboard. We recommend checking this at least once a week. The weekly dashboard is where you can track students' weekly activity and target completion. This report also alerts you if anyone needs extra attention or intervention. First, we see our new Stuck Students block. It displays in real time students who have spent significantly more time than expected on a current task and still haven't completed it. This feature allows teachers to quickly identify and assist students who might be struggling. By hovering over the time spent by a student, you can see the average time it takes for students to complete that particular task. We recommend providing support to these students. Working through an exercise together may help you determine what type of support is needed, a quick explanation, or some extra practice. This feature is meant to assist teachers in offering timely support to students, ensuring they stay on track and can complete their tasks successfully. Then the weekly dashboard itself is split into 2 parts. The first section summarizes the students' weekly activity on Happy Numbers. The activity diagram shows you how many students logged into Happy Numbers that week and on which days of the week. If you're looking into the weekly dashboard for the current week, you'll be able to see how many students are online at that time. The target completion diagram outlines the number of students who completed their time target and the number of students who completed their task target this week. Additionally, you can see your class distribution by time target completion. Let's zoom in on the weekly targets available on Happy Numbers. There are 2 targets that students are working towards each week. The weekly time target is the minimum number of minutes that students are recommended to practice with Happy Numbers per week. This differs depending on the grade. For pre-K students, we recommend 30 minutes a week. Kindergarten students, we recommend 35 minutes per week. And for grades 1 through 5, we recommend 45 minutes per week. The weekly task target is the set minimum tasks per week that students are expected to complete. It is calculated automatically for each student based on the student's current assignment and their weekly time target. Each student can see and track their progress towards achieving individual weekly targets in their account. Even though Happy Numbers is designed in a way that encourages students to collect rewards for hitting their weekly targets, it's a good idea to consider offering additional incentives. Some teachers run weekly or monthly math challenges or math marathons in their class and give small rewards to students who consistently hit their time and task targets. You could come up with a similar activity with your class. The lower section hosts a table with each student's individual weekly results. Students are split into different ability groups based on their placement points. First, you'll see students placed before the current grade level, then students on the current grade level. For each student, you can check their daily and weekly time spent, what fraction of time and task targets they've completed, the total number of tasks solved, and the weekly accuracy rate. This compares the number of successful attempts to solve a task to the total number of attempts. We know how important it is to identify students that are struggling and need additional help, and more importantly, to provide timely intervention. In the weekly dashboard, we have a key feature aimed at specifically doing that. This is the struggle alert that most of you, I assume, have previously worked with. Struggle alerts are indicated with this red triangle. Previously reviewed the struggle alert, it will show up, but it will be gray. Let's look at Adam's week and explore the data that we have for him. He spent 42 minutes on happy numbers out of a 45-minute target. He solved 16 tasks and has one more task to solve to reach the task target. His accuracy for the week is 80%. It's important to pay attention that Adam has 2 struggle tasks indicated by the triangle. On the drop-down arrow next to the student's name to see more details. By opening this section, you will see the list of tasks that this student has solved this week, including a red alert symbol next to the ones that cause problems. To spot only the ones that cause problems, you can select Show Only Struggle Tasks. We recommend resolving this exercise with the student to find out where the points of difficulty are. To do this, click on the task's name to open it and ask the student to solve it again alongside you. Checking mistakes or misunderstandings together may help you determine what type of support is needed, either a quick explanation or some extra practice. Since we've introduced the struggle alert, teachers often ask us, how does the program determine the need for intervention? Sometimes a low accuracy rate doesn't mean that a student has gaps in understanding. If a student solves 1 out of 2 problems correctly, an accuracy rate of 50%, a simple typo could be the reason. However, if he solves 4 out of 8 problems correctly, the same accuracy rate of 50% is more problematic. That's why our methodologists have developed a unique algorithm to highlight only tasks where the number of mistakes is significant. The skills report is going to show you the current level of mastery of your students on particular math skills, and it's also going to flag the students who need help. So the more time that your students spend on happy numbers, the more accurate this specific report is going to be. In the skills report, we use 4 different colors: red, yellow, green, and gray. To assess a student's skill level, the program will look at the last 20 attempts to solve the problems on that skill. It will analyze the type of exercises that the student is solving, whether it was a concrete or abstract assignment, and then measure the student's accuracy. So if the level of mastery is at least 80%, we'll color that skill green. Students who are developing skills with at least 60% accuracy are going to be marked in yellow. And your students in red are the ones you're going to want to prioritize in your small group or your one-on-one instruction, because this represents the skills that your students may need help with. If we don't have enough information to assess the student, we color the skill gray. But don't worry, we will update the information as soon as your student completes the skills-related tasks. To ensure you have the most up-to-date information on your students' progress, we recommend that your students meet their weekly time target on happy numbers. As a reminder, that's 30 minutes for pre-K, 35 minutes for kindergarten, and 45 minutes per week for grades 1 through 5. To make the report easy to read and navigate, we split all of your skills that your students need to learn into several domains, like numeracy, addition, subtraction, and so on. On the top in the diagram section, you're going to see your students and their skill level distribution in each domain. By hovering over the bars, you can see detailed information, like the names of the students from the Help Needed section and Developing sections, as well as the number of students that have mastered skills. The names are all clickable. This means that you can click on a student's name and go directly to the domain and skill and student that you're interested in with just a simple click. You'll see how it scrolls us to the main table. At the top of the table, you'll see the domain chosen and the skills in that column. You can switch the domain in the menu here. This will show you only domains that are related to your grade level. By clicking on a student's name or arrow, you can see the skill's accuracy, tasks the student has solved, and the time on each. The tooltip on time is going to show you the time that we expected this exercise to be solved. You can also click on the task name to see where the student struggled. If you want to see the whole picture for these students, you can also go to the Summary tab and see the information for each grade. I do want to talk about the silhouette symbol. This means that that student is still solving problems on those skills. It can sometimes be yellow and even red, but that is not an immediate cause for concern. This just means that students are still at the beginning of their journey working on this skill, and they may just need more time to master it. But if your student doesn't spend enough time in happy numbers, it's going to become difficult for the program to objectively assess their skills. In this case, you will see a gray clock next to the student's name. Again, I have a demo account, so it's going to say that all of my students haven't been practicing. If more than 50% of your students don't visit Happy Numbers for a month, you're going to see a banner like this at the top of your screen. It says outdated data. Looks like most of your students haven't been on Happy Numbers in the past month. To have up-to-date data in the report, students must practice regularly. To save you time, we also have added a filter that quickly shows you students who need help. To use this filter, simply check the box next to Show Only Students That Need Help. For example, let's look at students that have skills that they've struggled with in my currently shown numeracy domain. I can see that quite a few additional targeted practice with rounding to tens and rounding to hundreds, for example, would support students like Lydia, Natalie, Adam, and Carlos. The next feature of Happy Numbers that I would like to discuss is our assignments feature. Happy Numbers carefully adjusts the curriculum for each student's needs, but we know that in some cases, as we mentioned before in the skills report, you need targeted practice on a specific skill. That's why we've added an assignment feature. Here are some ways that teachers can effectively integrate the assignment feature. Differentiated instruction, understanding and assigning tasks to students accordingly based on a lesson topic. Assigning tasks that are tailored to each student's learning path by combining our skills report tool and this assignment feature to provide students opportunities to work on skills that they need to develop. You can even use the assignment feature for small assessments. Important note is that you can assign the curriculum only to students who have completed the placement test. Let me show you how this feature works. Using the skills report, we earlier identified students that needed additional targeted practice. Once you click on Add Assignment, then you can select the students that you would want to complete this assignment. You can choose all students, groups of students, or individual students. For this assignment, I'm going to select all of my below grade level students. Next, you're going to select the assignment size. Is the average number of minutes an on-grade student takes to complete it. If the assignment grade level is higher or lower than the student's grade level, the time could vary. I'm going to select and assign a 15 to 20 minute task set. Next, I need to select the skills I want to assign. Since my students are below grade level, I'm going to choose grade 3. In the numeracy domain, I'm going to select rounding to hundreds. You'll notice that there are two options for rounding to hundreds. Guided practice provides students with step-by-step instruction, and practice uses abstract examples with explanations only in case of mistakes. You can check the Preview Selected Assignments button to see an example of what these exercises will look like. The last step is to select the dates and name your assignment. And that's it. Once I click Assign to the selected students, my work here will be done. So the next time students log in, they will see that I've assigned them additional practice that they need to complete. And once they do, they will be able to go back to their original curriculum assigned by Happy Numbers. If students do not complete the assignment in the assigned time, it will be automatically canceled. If you plan to assign additional targeted practice on a weekly basis, something regular, it might be a good idea to increase the student's time target to 60 minutes, for example. If students complete an assignment It will be indicated here as a letter A on the weekly dashboard. Previously, the time spent on assignments did not count towards a student's time target. That has changed, and now the time that students spend on additional assigned targeted practice will count toward their weekly time target. Going back to the assignment homepage, here you'll see the list of assignments. You can filter the assignments here at the top by active, scheduled, and ended. You'll also see a summary for each assignment, like the number of students who completed it and the students who need intervention. Students that need intervention are the students with low accuracy or students that took longer than expected to complete the task. You can also cancel the assignment for all students, reassign already ended assignments, or go into the details to see a detailed report. For each student, we provide information about status, accuracy, time spent, and this is also where you can cancel or reassign an assignment for individual students. Maybe, for example, the student didn't have time to complete the assignment, or if they struggled and you went over it together, maybe you want to reassign to see how they do this time. I can go into the details and see the accuracy and time on a particular task. We know that you're very busy, so if the student spends 4 times more time on an assignment than the estimated average, the program will cancel it automatically. We recommend assigning 10-minute sets to all students 1 to 2 times per week and 5-minute sets for individual students that struggle with certain skills. I want to point your attention to the new statuses that are going to help track student performance on your assigned targeted practice. A red cross indicates that the assignment has been canceled, and there are different reasons for cancellation: by teacher, due to difficulty, or because the time expired. You can hover over to see the exact reason for cancellation. A blue check mark means that the student completed that part of the assignment. If there's a blue check mark with a red dot, it means that the student completed that part of the assignment but struggled and needs intervention. A gray silhouette with or without a red dot is similar in logic. It indicates that the student is in progress of solving the assignments, and the red dot represents the student is struggling. A circle means that the student has not started this part of the assignment. Let's look at Julio, for example. He successfully completed the first assignment, Comparison to 1000 Guided Practice, and he is now working on Counting to 1000 Practice. Look at Chris. You can see that Chris is still working on Comparison to 1000 Guided Practice. Obviously, since the student is still on the first part of the assignment, you'll see 2 circles indicating they have not started the second or third parts of the assignment yet. These different statuses were designed to enable teachers to evaluate student performance at just a glance and really make it easy to see what is going on with students working on assigned practice. The next feature I'd like to discuss is our Printables feature. No matter how great online features are, we understand the importance of keeping a balance between online and non-digital paper pencil work, especially after COVID. But searching for high-quality, non-digital math practice is time-consuming for each teacher. That's why we've created our own Printables library, which is aligned to Common Core and state standards and covers a variety of math topics. Let me show you how this feature works. You can see that the whole Printables library is divided by grade, as well as the domains, the same domains that you see in the skills report. You'll also see that our printables can be tagged by skills and standard, which can be used like a filter. Let's imagine that I want to additionally support my below grade level students and get a printable for them to work on. Remember, they were struggling with rounding to hundreds. I'm going to choose grade 3 and type in rounding to hundreds. We created sets for math skills to help you differentiate your instruction in just a few clicks. One set can include up to 3 levels of difficulty. To switch the preview between the levels of difficulty, you can click on the arrows. You'll see that this set has an easy level for students who don't understand the concept well. a medium level for students who need more practice, and a challenging level for those who are ready to work with abstract tasks without visual support. You can see these materials in detail by clicking on the printable. You can switch between the levels of difficulty here at the top to get a bigger preview. I have a mixture of English and Spanish speaking students in my class. I can select the pages that I'd like to print, as well as indicate the number of copies that I need, and click the Create PDF button to get the 6 pages that I'd like to print in English. Then I can toggle to the Spanish language section, and I can indicate the number of pages that I need in Spanish. Now let's look at some other printables. You'll notice that a few of our printables have additional symbols that I'd like to discuss with you now. The cooperative symbol lets you know that this printable contains a game, and this game requires more than one student to play. This would be a great consideration for a Fun Friday activity. Sometimes our materials require a few minutes of preparation. For example, exercises using a ruler. You will see the special yellow sign and the approximate time that you need to prepare for the lesson. But don't worry, it's never more than 10 minutes. After a few months on happy numbers, you might want to reassess your students' math growth. Now I'll show you how to set up the assessments. Been working on happy numbers for more than 2 months, it's a great time to consider setting up the mid-year assessment. It's available starting December 1st, and the purpose is to check the student's math level again and automatically readjust the curriculum if they've showed mastery. I have a demo account where the mid-year assessment has already passed, but setting the dates is the same for the end-of-year and mid-year assessments, and scheduling the test is a breeze. There will be a calendar icon that shows up next to the assessment that you'd like to schedule. Calendar icon and set the date range you'd like the assessment to run. Test results can be viewed here in the Your Assessment tab. Students are placed into one of 4 categories. If they are far below their grade level, meaning 2 or more grade levels below, they'll have a pink dot. If they are below grade level, meaning they are 1 grade level below, they'll have a yellow dot. Students who are on grade level will have a light green dot, and students exceeding grade level will have a dark green dot. To show the results of the assessment for this school year, we've developed a happy numbers scale that is very easy to read and measure growth. You can click on the hyperlink here to refresh your memory on how to read the happy numbers scores. The first letter or digit represents the grade level the student tested into, and the second 2 digits represent the percentage of the curriculum covered at that level. If a student scores a 210, it means that they have scored into the 2nd grade level and they understand about 10% of that 2nd grade level curriculum. Numbers assessments are supported by Metrometrics, and all of the assessment results are available in quantiles that you may have seen last year. If you need the results in quantiles, you can reach out to us at support@happynumbers.com. Heard that the results of a test don't accurately reflect a student's ability. This can happen if a student has a bad day or if the student received help from a peer. In such cases, you may want to reset the test. While the placement test determines the starting point, the aim of the mid-year assessment is not only to assess the growth, but also adjust the student's learning pathway. If the student's result is higher than the current place in the curriculum, the student is moved further along. Otherwise, the student will continue their math journey from the same placement point they were at before taking the assessment. The replacement can be visualized in the yearly dashboard. The yearly dashboard gives you a helicopter view of your class progress. Let's check it out. It is split into 2 parts. The upper diagram shows your class distribution after taking the placement test at the beginning of the school year compared to their current grade distribution after a certain number of weeks. The overall progress section illustrates how much progress your students have made so far so that you can get a good feeling of the average progress in your classroom. Finally, the next grade readiness singles out students who are ready for the next grade's curriculum based on the content they've already mastered on happy numbers and based on their performance on the end of year assessment, which you can set up in your teacher account closer to April. The yearly dashboard is a table with students' individual progress. For each student, you will see the progress that they've made in percentage of the assigned grade level curriculum, where 100% is a full year's current grade level curriculum and equal to 1 year's growth. The average weekly time spent on happy numbers, their math growth journey starting from the placement point all the way up to their current practice point, the placement test results, which are also color-coded according to ability level, as well as the results of other assessments included in your premium subscription, the mid-year and end-of-year assessments. The scores for these assessments are then compared to the results of the placement test to derive the student growth under the growth column. That a growth of 100 indicates 1 year's curriculum growth. As you can see, the report provides lots of information on student math progress and growth, which makes it perfect for sharing with math coaches and administrators. And the growth column shows the difference between the test results. That's why we've also made it possible for you to download your class yearly dashboard report as a PDF. If you need a report for an individual student, you can always click on any of the reports where you see a student's name in blue. This will bring up their individual student report. Here we've gathered the information from all the reports we've discussed, just about this particular student. We know that in some cases you need a report for parents to discuss their students' progress. For this purpose, we've created a parent report, which is a valuable tool that can be downloaded here in the Parent tab. It shows the student's progress and assessment results in a very simple language. So now let's recap the reports we have covered in this webinar. First, we talked about the weekly dashboard. That is a place where you can check your students' time and task target completion. It's also a great spot for you to monitor those intervention alerts and provide that timely intervention based on the reporting that you're seeing. We talked about the skills report and how it can be used to monitor a student's skill level based on the different domains. We also discussed how we can use the additional tools for differentiation in a myriad of ways, whether it be an exit ticket or an assessment or a response to intervention. We can use the assignments, which is digital practice that is targeted either more guided or more independently. And then also our Printables library, which has up to 3 levels of differentiated paper and pencil activities. And then we talked about our assessments, mainly the mid-year assessment, and how you can set the date for that closer to December. It's used to measure math growth from the beginning of the year to the current week of practice. And also, if students are showing growth, then the program will automatically readjust and move them further along in their learning pathway so that students are constantly staying in their zone of proximal development. For this school year, we've also added a fact fluency feature for grades 1 through 5, which will become available in late fall 2025. It's a fully integrated system that runs in the background and fits naturally into each student's learning path, launching automatically after they've spent enough time on the core curriculum tasks. It includes 3 levels. The first is focused on accuracy, then gentle time-limited practice, and finally, targeted review of the facts that students struggled with earlier in their learning. We talked more about how fact fluency practice works for students in our Intro to Happy Numbers webinar, so feel free to check it out for a closer look. Since fluency is now part of the learning path, it's also part of your reporting tools. You'll find 2 fluency reports in your teacher dashboard to track student growth. First, the class fluency report. It's going to show you overall fluency progress across your class, mastery by operation, time spent per topic, and alerts when a student is struggling or stuck with a skill. Then there's the student fluency report. This gives you a full breakdown of the facts that each student has mastered, is still working on, or hasn't started yet, and also the performance by domain, skill, and individual fact. These reports make it easy to spot trends, adjust support, and follow fluency progress week by week, all without extra prep time. Thank you so much for joining me for the Advanced Features and Reports webinar. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@happynumbers.com.